Hi, and welcome to Headspace Diaries. This is a space where we explore psychology and related sciences from a student's point of view, curiously, honestly, and without pretending to have all the answers. Before we begin, just a quick note, I'm not a licensed professional yet, and this podcast is purely educational and based on what I'm learning and reflecting on as a student in university. My name is Malavika, and I go by Mal for short, and I am currently a university student in applied psychology. Today, I want to talk about what psychology really is about and what it often gets misunderstood as. Psychology is everywhere, on social media, in conversations, in self-help content. Because of that, it often gets simplified or misunderstood. One of the very first things taught in psychology class is to distinguish what it is from what it is not. That is, psychology is scientific. It meets certain criteria of science to be considered scientific, such as being objective, falsifiable, and empirical. Psychology has seen rapid growth in the modern world. We have shifted from an era of unbelievers to a generation that has oversimplified it in popular culture. This is why it can be so challenging to decide what psychology is and what it isn't. So here are some of the most common myths that we've heard about psychology. You may or may not have heard them before. We only use 10% of our brains. I admit I did believe in this myth until a few years back, and I was fairly disappointed to learn that it was not true. Because what do you mean? This is me using 100% of my brain. I can't even remember where I left my keys, to be honest. But this is one of those myths I think started off well-intentioned, like how parents tell their children that they have so much potential. Anyway, another myth I believed in as a child was that opposites attract. No, they do not. Again, how disheartening. Believing that opposites attract has made movies and shows more interesting, especially when there's chemistry between the contrasting characters. But psychology, however, shows a different reality. There are more couples made every day based on similar interests and hobbies than there are of contrasting backgrounds and personalities. Now, as evidence number 3, I have some good news. Many believe that intelligence is an inborn trait, which is again nothing but a myth. That's a relief, to be honest. So, while there are studies that reveal that genetics does play a role in intelligence, researchers have found that environmental factors or nurture, that is, accounts for the rest. Also, with the recent studies in neuroscience, we now know that our brains are highly plastic. They are capable of forming new neural connections throughout life, which means we can learn at any point in life, although there might be age-related difficulties in doing so. So the next time you hear a psychological claim online or in conversation, even if it is something I said, it might be worth pausing and asking, where is this really coming from? And what does the research actually say? It's no mind reading or astrology, and no, I cannot tell you what kind of person you are just by knowing your favorite animal, no matter what BuzzFeed says. Psychology, at its core, is about understanding behavior through science, not myths. And if that kind of exploration interests you, then you're in the right place. Thank you for listening. This is Headspace Diaries, and I'll see you in the next episode.